Tonight I'm going to be presenting ALM, what's new in ALM 2013 and Team Foundation Server 2013. And obviously we're going to spend the next 60 minutes or so going through all the investments they've made. And I'm going to try to do the session in a way that we follow the whole process the entire way around. One of the core tenets of this is their investment in ALM. And ALM is kind of the way that, the processes you use to develop code and work together and keep the product owner updated and all that stuff. So we're going to be going through that. In addition, the way Microsoft have been developing their software is different than it was before. They would develop stuff for about 2 to 3 years and then ship something. So now they're shipping every 3 weeks. If you're using tfs.visualstudio.com, you're getting an update every 3 weeks. And that's a big change for Microsoft. How many people here are already developing at work on 2013 RC or preview? Nope. Who's on a 2012 update such as update 2 or update 3 or update 4? Okay, so we've got 90% of the room. Who is on 2012 RTM, one of the RTMs? No one. So that's pretty impressive. Anyone on 2010? No, 1. 2. 2 on 2010.
Yeah, SQL Server.
Yes, but I'm talking Visual Studio 2010. So just 2 guys in the.
Sorry, occasionally. For BizTalk.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, just use BizTalk, right? Okay, cool. So a little about me. I work for SSW. We're a gold partner, and personally, I'm a regional director, ASP Insider, and MVP, and I got MVP of the year in 2011, and that was pretty cool considering there's about 5,000 MVPs. And that is my Twitter handle at Adam Cogan. All right, and I am a coach of under 11 girls, and we practice Scrum. We really do. They don't know that we practice Scrum, but we have, at halftime we have a planning meeting, and then we have a retrospective, and they all have to tell us what went well and what didn't go well, what they need to improve. So, and they love it, and they love talking. It's all very good. All right, so Damien is the guy that I wrote this talk with heavy input from Eric Fan as well. So let's do a trip down memory lane. 2002, we got going with the web, essentially. We had ASP.NET and we had web services. And then 2003, we got some updates. And most of those updates, really, we didn't end up using. 2005, we got some cool things, and the best things of it that we still love today is generics and their investments in the local web server Cassini. And we got load tests. 2008, we got Link, and we still use Link today. That was the best thing that Anders Hallsberg's probably ever done after C# and all the other cool, some people would say Delphi. No? No. And we got this little thing snuck in MVC1, and it all confused us. And we thought, oh, well, this is, I don't know what this is, some weird thing. And we got some JavaScript IntelliSense and load testing. 2010, well, this was a big release. Had lots of cool stuff. Pity it ran a bit slow. It was written in WPF. But it gave us IntelliTrace. It gave us MVC 2 and 3 around that time. We also got the marriage of devs and testers with Test Manager. That was a big investment by Microsoft, and it was the start of good things. Okay. Also got Code UI and other things. 2012. Well, we got the modern UI, which pissed off everyone because all our icons went black and white. We got a much faster add references dialog. It took them almost 10 years to get that right. Then we got NuGet, the best thing ever. How many people are using NuGet substantially? I mean, more than 10 packages in their solution. Oh, wow, that's probably 75% of the room, okay? Okay, you can grab that if you want. But yes, NuGet definitely has some bugs. It's open source, so you can fix it yourself.
You've really got to keep up to date with getting the latest code.
Can you say it again?
Get the latest code on NuGet. Make sure you're updating it.
Are you saying you've got to update NuGet or update the packages?
Update NuGet.
Right. Okay. Cool. So Microsoft are investing in NuGet. It's pretty important to them. Yeah. And you can see, you can follow their blog. There's plenty of stuff coming out. But yeah, you're right. I've sent my own suggestions to the NuGet guys. So we also got a new Team Explorer, which was cool in that, you know, lots of the dialogues pop-ups disappeared and things, but it was not as cool in other things that we couldn't make our own windows and things like that. We got storyboarding, so we didn't need Balsamic anymore. We got IntelliTrace in production. We got MVC 3 and 4, probably the best stuff of the whole thing. Page Inspector, debugging in Chrome, yep, we needed that. And testers, whoa, that was cool, exploratory testing and the feedback tool. Now, I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. If you want to, I do a whole presentation on that, and you can watch it. Microsoft put it up on Channel 9. There's a few talks up there. You can see plenty of that stuff, and that's stuff used today. I'm going to be talking about 2013, and I'm going to go through it like this. I'm going to talk to you about deciding on the source control. I'm going to talk to you about definition of done. I'm going to talk to you about definition of ready. Now, this is something you've probably never heard of, and I just, the reason I added this in is because for years we've been talking about a definition of done that essentially all Scrum teams do, and I think most teams that go along, they have a definition of done and they're doing okay. The Scrum guys, the fathers of Scrum, Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland, they updated the Scrum Guide recently. Has anybody read the Scrum 2013 PDF that was released a month ago? Anyone? Not a soul. All right, that is your homework to do. In fact, I did this poster a while ago, and I have just updated it to 2013. So if you want to grab some of these posters, you can grab them. It's got some changes, but I'll tell you the most significant change that I think will start developing is they keep talking about this ready state. And the ready state is, what state is a PBI in before you start work? So, if who's doing Scrum here? Who's practicing Scrum? Okay, not even half the room. Okay, that is not representative of the industry at large. Because I did this in New Zealand, and I can say probably not over 90% of the room, a room of 400 guys, were doing Scrum. So it's definitely the most common agile way. And most of our teams, and most of the clients we work for, are practicing Scrum. And this definition of ready is about when do you start work on the requirement. So TJ, if I was to give you a task, can you make a customer order screen or search screen? Would you do it? Would you start coding?
No, I would start asking lateral.
No, I would start asking a lot of questions first.
Okay, ask me a question.
With the customer order screen?
No, search screen. I'll make it real simple.
A search screen?
Yep.
Okay, do you want partial search or exact search? That will be my first.
Can I have both?
Yes, you can have both.
Okay.
Then is it going to be for Windows application or web application?
Well, you're the expert, but I think everyone's doing web.
Okay, so we'll do web. And then with that, we will go over your, whatever database we're using, we will go over what kind of information.
Can't you use that cloud thing, something, whatever it is? I don't need databases. I think they're old-fashioned.
We can do that, and I'll ask you because I don't use Azure. Does Azure SQL Server has full text search?
Aren't you the expert? Why are you asking me all the questions?
No, because I don't do Azure.
All right, I'm the product owner. You're really confusing me. I'm going to go to a simple consultant. Give me that other consultant at the back, please. I just want a search screen. Can you do this for me?
Do you always want to search the same? Do you always know what you want to search for, or
Yes,
does
I
it
want
change?
to search for first name and last name.
You always
I thought
know.
that was simple.
You always know. That's all.
Yeah,
Right.
first name and last name.
Okay. So
Can you start work now? Who would start work? That's enough, isn't it? How much do you need to know? Who wouldn't start work? All right, Dave, what do you need to know? All right, I'll give you a user story. As a marketing manager, I want to search for customers so I can call them up. Can you start coding now, please? I'm paying you a lot of money per hour. And I know your rate, it's not cheap. It's costing me a lot just for you to ask me questions.
Yeah, well, but it's better to ask the questions first up.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
So we have a rough screen design. We do a storyboard and how it'll all hang together. What the search results look like, what you need to see in the search results, and what business value it adds, and prioritise it.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So I think Dave's got the idea.
You also said marketing manager.
TJ, need the mic.
Can bring in security.
You also said, as a marketing manager, so I would ask, how about users, how about other roles, whatever roles we have, what can they do and what can they not do?
Right.
Are we gonna
So I
show
think TJ's is starting to turn into an epic already. But I think Dave was going along the right lines with, just trying to just get what it's going to look like. And so my main advice to you is if the customer can't give you acceptance criteria, if he can't describe to you essentially what it's going to look like Dave is kind of trying to ask, and it sounded like he was going to do the work for me. He was going to do the mock-ups for me and do it like that. But he could kind of start work if I could describe what it's going to look like. But many of the time, a product owner cannot describe what it's going to look like, and that's bad. So I would actually tell you, if you can't get acceptance criteria, don't start the task. Anyway, and then we've got to go ahead and do features and epics, and I want to show you today about developer goodies, what's in Visual Studio that's great for devs, build, web access, show off team rooms, and then I want to do some testing, okay? So this is an old-fashioned way to look at things. Because we're cool and we're Scrum guys, we're not going to do it like that. We're going to do it like this. We're going to reorder this, or reorganize this, into a backlog. We're going to have sprint planning, and we'll decide on the same things, and then we're going to have sprint 1, where we go through all those tasks, and then we're going to do a sprint review, a retro, and then we'll start sprint 2, and that will be another session with testing. All right. Any questions? Good. So, sprint planning. This is the first thing. We need a Scrum Master. A Scrum Master is a very cool guy, and that Scrum Master looks like this, typically. Okay? Much cooler. And he looks exactly the opposite of a project manager. Okay? So, anyway, the Scrum Master is there to make sure the process is followed. So, you can grab those posters, but I'm going to subscribe to you this way. So, you have the product owner. I'm going to tell you about, in the last 12 months, I would tell you that most of my pain hasn't been from the developers. Developers have started self-organizing. They've started removing the walls between devs and testers. They've started doing emergent architecture. They started working in sprints and trying to do the best job. Most of the pain that I've had in the last 12 months have been product owners. Sometimes poorly chosen, sometimes just too busy, that type of thing. And so my next 12 months, I'm going to put more of a focus on the product owner. And I'm just going to, let me just tell you the problem with product owners. Product owners know the business problem fairly well. They don't always know exactly what they want. They kind of know what they want, but not exactly. And that causes us a lot of pain. Often they're way too busy, and then the devil is in the details, and we get stuck. We get really stuck. And in our case, we've had a lot of failures in trying to get the Scrum Master to force the product owner to at least read the Scrum Guide, which is only like 12 pages or something tiny, and just so that they take on their responsibilities seriously, so they don't screw us around too much, even though they're wasting their own money. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've gone ahead and I've made a video. And so I'm going to ask the product owners now to watch that video. And I'll just, I'm just going to play that video to you. Let me just come in here. I'll just type Chrome. And we just some hours ago just launched a brand new tv.ssw site. And before it was just essentially a blog site. So every time we did a new one, we'd have a new blog post. That was okay for a while, but this is a lot more orientated towards helping you find the information you want. So you've got, and the major changes you'll see from before is that you can navigate by topics. So if you're only interested in MVC, you can click on that, or SharePoint or whatever, so you can get to just the topics you want quicker. And I guess the other big thing is these have questions now. So a few months ago we had this guy Cameron Shaw come, and he did a lawyer talk, and I'll just play a touch of that. So this is Cameron, he started off the talk. So let me just introduce Cameron Shaw. Cameron's worked here for
really try and limit your obligations less to producing a final product and more to something other than that. Rights and obligations exist outside of contract. They exist in negligence. They exist in the Australian consumer law and statute and other aspects. When it goes wrong, I've tried to say, conduct negotiations, try and resolve problems amicably, or try and resolve problems with the commercial hat on, not on the basis of principle. Always protect your position, state what you think the state of affairs are. Assert your rights the way through. Keep sending invoices, even if you think it's going to upset them that you're still billing them, because you need to keep saying this is the contractual position that I'm asserting, because as soon as you waive your contractual rights, you're at risk of not being able to enforce them down the line. You get sued because you don't deliver something in the end. So try and get something live straight away. And the best solution is call your lawyer. Thank you.
Did you get all that? We'll take the SSW TV quiz and test your knowledge now. The questions and check that you basically understood the most important points in the presentation. Okay, so we'll see how that pans out. What I wanted to show you right now was this product owner video, and so I'll just play it to you. It's a couple minutes.
The product owner is responsible for maximising the value of the product and the work of the development team. How this is done may vary widely across organisations, Scrum teams and individuals. The product owner is the sole person responsible for managing the product backlog. Product backlog management includes clearly expressing product backlog items, ordering the items in the product backlog to best achieve goals and missions, ensuring the value of the work the development team performs, ensuring that the product backlog is visible, transparent and clear to all and shows what the Scrum team will work on next, and ensuring the development team understands items in the product backlog to the level needed. The product owner may do the above work or have the development team do it, however, the product owner remains accountable. The product owner is one person, not a committee. The product owner may represent the desires of a committee in the product backlog, but those wanting to change a backlog item's priority must convince the product owner. For the product owner to succeed, the entire organisation must respect his or her decisions. The product owner's decisions are visible in the content and ordering of the product backlog. No one is allowed to tell the development team to work from a different set of requirements, and the development team isn't allowed to act on what anyone else says. So, there you have it. Let's quickly review. Your tasks as a product owner are to clearly express product backlog items, prioritise and order PBIs, ensure the value of the work delivered, ensure that the product backlog is visible and clear to all, and ensure that the team fully understands the product backlog.
So that's the role of the product owner, straight from the Scrum Guide. A bad product owner will send your team off on the wrong direction, but if you follow these rules, you'll maximise the value you get from your team every sprint.
So that's the video that we've done. It's the first time that we've done an animated video, and we'll see if that helps. But the role of the product owner is pretty simple, and I'm hoping that if we can get them to just watch that, take their responsibilities, maybe it won't matter if they don't read the Scrum Guide. We'll see. Any thoughts? Okay. So then the next step after the Scrum Master explains to the product owner what needs to be done, the definition of done. And I'm not going to go through that. We've got it on our website. We've got 8 levels of the definition of done, so you can have a look at it. But as long as you have one. Then I think what's going to happen now is the definition of ready. And that you can also look at that on our website as well. But I'm going to encourage you to have a definition of ready. And it might be as simple as if we can't have it, well, we have acceptance criteria. It might be you need mock-ups or whatever Dave mentioned before, that type of stuff. You'll determine as a team what state must the product owner put PBIs in before we take them. All right, use of work items, Visual Studio or in the browser. How many people are entering their work items inside Visual Studio? Okay, couple. How many people are entering in their browser? Couple. So where are the rest of you entering your work items? Oh, how many people are entering them in Excel? I never even thought to ask. Okay, one. Who's using Microsoft Project? Another one, all right. And the rest of you? Don't enter work items? What are you guys doing up there? Oh, use Jira. Oh, we got the enemy here. Great. Are you going to convert? No. All right, you just want to see what we're doing. Cool. All right. So, last year, when I presented this 12 months ago, I said that in 2012, as soon as you guys start seeing the browser, then you'll discover that's a richer experience than Visual Studio, and that 90% of you will start using the browser over the rich client. Okay? I think that was pretty close to accurate, maybe not as, maybe 70 to 80% at the events that I've just been to when I ask. So, who's doing daily scrums every day? A daily scrum every day with their team? The Jira boys don't do daily scrums? No, they don't need that. Well, daily stand-ups or scrum, same word. Daily scrum or stand-up, you actually don't have to stand up. So they used to be called a daily stand-up, but in America, that was, you're not going to believe it, but it was discriminating against handicapped people. So they had to get rid of the daily stand-up, so we call it a daily scrum. Just Americans, you know what they're like. Okay. So, anyway, how many people are doing them with something physical, like physical cars or something physical? Okay, a few. How many are doing it completely electronic? Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So that's most of you are doing it electronic. Oh, that's good. Basically, the physical one still happens in a lot of companies I go to. You've got these on the walls. Some people do burn downs on whiteboards and they keep it going. Seems okay. I'm going to say if you're doing it like that, that's where you are. What you want to be is you want to be the next level. Okay. With a nice cool monitor and a nice Visual Studio or the browser. But the way we do it at SSW is with a projector. Okay, and this is just a photo from SSW's office, and we have that up on the board. Okay, so that's the way you want to do it. I'm going to encourage you to do it publicly in in a hallway or whatever. I'll talk about that. So. We've explained to the product owner and the team some responsibilities, and now we've got to go ahead and create our team project. So, what we need to do, well, it's now the product owner's job. So I'm now the product owner, and I will go ahead and, well, I'll open Chrome, and I will go ahead, and it's just as simple as going ssw.visualstudio.com. I'll log in. And, well, now you just create a new team project, or we've got this new Git option, okay? So this Git option is in red because they want you to click it. See, they put it there twice in red. Now, you don't want to click it, you want to click this guy. And so you come in here and you go, I don't know, I need to do a Sydney user group. By the way, there should be a bit of a warning that, there is a warning. You can never change this after you've created it. So think about it. And obviously you should only ever choose Scrum. If you don't, you're retarded or something. And don't choose Git, choose Team Foundation, then you go ahead and create that. All right, so and as simple as that, a product owner can go ahead and do that. And once he's created this, he will then go through and start entering his work items. Okay, so this TFS is in the cloud. It's free for 5 users. Very unusual for Microsoft to start doing this. If you're on MSDN, how many people here are on MSDN? Oh, pretty much everyone. Okay, you two have some issues. Okay, but it's free if you've got MSDN. You can use a certain budget of cloud load testing and all that stuff. Okay, and all I actually did before this was go through here and type SSW. That's the only thing that I've done before. And then you choose this, you go through, you choose this or Git, whichever one you want, and I guess that leads us into Git because Git is now a first-class citizen in 2013, and you've got to choose if you want it. So Git is, because trunk is not all it's cracked up to be. I'll just quickly summarize what we've got on our site, which is basically it's an awesome distributed version control system. It's got local repositories. You can work offline. It makes Visual Studio feel much faster for some reason, probably because they don't talk to servers. Beautiful at syncing repositories. Much easier to share code with the community. In fact, we've moved like a number of our things to Git, like when we're happy to share. Like our SSW.framework is on Git, or our UTS that we do at the university, rather than ask someone to download, we just put it up on Git. It's much easier. Much easier for people to submit an error. And also, the writing is on the wall for SVN, one of the most popular ones, which we used to love. It's gone. In fact, I'm going to tell you something that I thought was amazing when Brian Harry told me this. There is only 2 version control systems in the last 12 months that have increased in market share. Git and TFS. Every other one has lost market share. So that's pretty cool. I was very surprised. Now Git is actually not that high. I think it's about number 7 or I can't remember what. But it's moving up fast. It's cool. It's all cool kids, okay? The older guys, such as you, might not think it's so cool, but all the young kids, they think it's great. All right. So, and it's great when you use GitHub. Now, the best Git client. Well, this is how it started, and then we got this rough UI, which people started using. It wasn't until we got this nice UI where people could visualize the branching and stuff that things took off. And then we got this great one for Apple users, and it was quite nice and easy to use. And then Windows users got this Metro UI, and it was quite cool. And that's where we're at. So then you go ahead and code with Git, and then you click Team Explorer Changes, and then you click Commit, just like you normally do, and then you're in. And instead of seeing that TFS ID, that change set ID, you get this Git mini GUID thing, whatever it's called. And that's the only difference. So it's almost the same. So I asked Brian Harry, like, you created TFS. All you've done is confuse me. Why have you put this thing in? I don't understand the purpose. And his response to me, which I thought was interesting, he said, I'll tell you one sec what he said, but I just want to show you this other stuff. This visualization, so you can see the master and the new ID. You can offline, you can create a new branch. Offline, you can switch branches. It's pretty cool what you can do. And you've got a web UI. So I asked him, and he said this: I want Git users' best experience to be inside Visual Studio. I thought that was an interesting goal that he said he wanted to achieve. And I think if you ask most Git users that have tried it now in Visual Studio 2013, they'll say it already is there. It's already there. It was already there in the preview. So it's pretty seamless. I'm just tracking this because it's only got 500,000 results so far. I want to see if it pans out to be true. I'll be watching. So it's all these cool things. So why don't I wreck it for every single project that we do? Because we generally don't use Git on most projects. And I'll tell you a few reasons why I don't, and this won't be the same for all you guys. But there's no check-in policies. That's a big deal for me to lose. I don't want to lose that. That is one of our main gates that we stop crap getting in. No code reviews. No my work. And it's not SOX compliant. Not that I care too much about that, but for any of you guys working for American companies, you may. It's likely to influence the Australian government that, you know, we won't allow that. But, you know, it's just there for consideration, okay? Because there's nothing to guarantee you can't change things. Oh, well, because you can't categorically say that this source code hasn't been changed. You know, so it doesn't have that level of enterprise security that big companies care about, okay? Yes, sir.
Those things are probably true. I was going to say, it might be worth pointing out that those things might be true about the TFS, but they're not issues with Git so much as, excuse me, the UI or the server that you've got that's running Git, if you see what I mean. So you can have implementations that use Git, sort of systems that use Git that do support that. So you know, you
can you say that again?
Sorry, those problems, if you like, that you've got there aren't, in a sense, Git not doing those. I think it's the server in front of Git, if you like. So TFS may not support those aspects.
The first three are TFS issues. Is that your point?
Yeah.
They're not Git issues. They're TFS issues. In fact, it's so interesting to note that they've only just added my work in. So you can see up until the last version, they were coding tied to one version control system. They weren't using interfaces and thinking, oh, we might one day swap out the version control system. So you can see that Brian Harry has seen that and go, I want to support it. You know, he could have supported Mercurial as well, which was more popular than Git at the time, but he wanted to support that, and I can tell you they're coming. In fact, I don't want to announce anything because I don't know, but I think that I might see some of these fixed in one of the updates because he doesn't stop talking about it. So I know that he cares.
The main reason why you use Git is it's a blit the code. It's a complete copy of the code, whereas TFS is incremental. And so that's the main advantage of the speed, because it's just going to write that. It doesn't care about the comparisons, take all the performance out of it. And so I mean, obviously the next step is they just add those extra features. There's no technical issue why they can't do those.
That's right. Yep. Okay. Cool. So Git and TFS, you are going to have the situation where some guys here, or some of your guys in your team love Git, are in love with it, and they're, you know, Git fanboys. And or there will be situations where you need Git because you're doing iOS stuff and that type of stuff where you need Git. Now, how do you do that if the enterprise says you have to use TFS or your boss? So you can do Git locally and push up to TFS. I'm not sure whether people will want to do it, but you can do it. So it allows you to work locally, and you can do it, and it's all explained on GitHub. All right. So I know that you guys, some of you guys are going to come and say, hey, Adam, you know, you said that you don't need anything other than Visual Studio to work with Git. That's not 100% correct. Now, I already know, and I'm going to tell you, this is my response. True, and my prediction is that advanced features will continue to be hidden in the command line and never exposed in the UI because they're dangerous and any Git can create a real mess. Now, I don't know that for sure, but I'm expecting that most of those advanced commands that some Git lovers love will remain not in the Visual Studio UI. Okay, so we've set up the team project. We've set up our source control pretty easily. Now it's a matter of the Scrum Master. You know, I should move back to the Scrum Master. He sets up the war room and creates some PBIs. So the war room, how you work is important, how you set the desks up. If you've got a remote office, you probably want to have Skype there with a projector or however you want to work. One of the things I care about is that the war room has a few things on the walls. And one is the way you're working. You can modify this. One is the definition of done, one is the definition of ready, and the roadmap. The roadmap should exist on the wall so everybody knows what is going to be happening. So that roadmap today has to be done on paper, essentially, because there's no electronic version of doing big epics like this. So then you come in here, and I'll just switch back. That's been created. You navigate to the project. And this is the product owner now. He goes in here, he clicks on the backlog, and when he goes in there, I'm just using the cloud now, I will tell you that you'll notice something here you wouldn't have seen before, something called features. See features up here? This was originally called epics, by the way, in the betas, but the Scrum Guide doesn't have the word epic. And so, of course, all the Scrum white robe religious ones were quite upset with that word epic, so the Microsoft team appeased them and renamed it to features. And in here, you start entering your features, and that would be, what would I have? I'll have a few features here. Show the awesome features of VS 2013 and TFS 2013. Okay, and that's done, and that is a higher level than a PBI. So I can, when that's saved, I can just double click on that and start entering more details. I can enter all the items underneath it. And I'll just open that guy up. And here we have that, and I could start, well, is that done? Yes? Is that done? Anything missing? Is it ready? Yeah, is it ready? So we don't really have a definition of ready for a, an epic or in one of these features, but you might want to advise that we think that the product owner should be able to explain what will this look like when all this has been shown. Like, what's the end goal? How will it look? And in my case, it might be that you all go back and install a VS 2013 RC. Okay, but you go back and do it. What else would it look like? Well, I hope that most of you that haven't read the Scrum Guide will go back and read the Scrum Guide. So stuff like that. So you get the product owner to explain if this is successfully done. Now, of course, that's not what the PBIs will need. The PBIs, well, I'll need to do some cool things in here. So we click on this. We type in here the title. What will be the first thing? I'll need to show you. Oh, I know. I'll need to show you one ASP.NET. I'll show you that tonight. That'll be one thing. And this comment, see this comment? Why the hell do they put a comment there? Bizarre. So it's there. You know that comment? Where did it go? It goes nowhere. Absolutely goes nowhere. It's nowhere. You have to go and modify the process template to even see it. Like, why don't they put the acceptance criteria? Would be much better idea, wouldn't it? Anyway. So we go through and we do that in one ASP.NET, and then I go through and I'd enter the acceptance criteria as well. So, oh, and also I can enter tags here. I can say this is for developers. Yeah, with my new keyboard. Actually, I can add some more testers and things like that. All right, so, and I'll just close that guy. And what else? That's pretty cool. I think that gives you a bit of an idea. If you want to see all the sub things, you come over to features. You can see features to backlog items. Oh, and by the way, you didn't notice this. Look, they've got colors now. See, there's purple and blue. Isn't that cool? We've now got colors, and that can't be right. They don't want to offend us. Anyway, so you got all that. You got tags. I can filter by tags as well, that type of thing. So that's how all that works. And that's quite nice, nifty, new. All right, so let's just summarize what we just saw. We saw the product owner can view the backlog. He can come in here to hold epics. He can enter lots of those guys. He can enter the acceptance criteria. He can click on implementation, add all the sub PBIs, and then he can tag the PBIs, enter more acceptance criteria, etc. Then he can switch the views here, and you'll see all the different levels of items. And then he can come here over on the right, click filter, and that will filter those guys down. And so all those tagging works nice. There's a couple of things that really annoy me about the tags. The tags are awesome. I wish we had them for years. But there's two things. I can't merge tags, and I can't use tags in reporting, which Dave kind of talked about a little bit before. But here, see this developers one? I just noticed there's a spelling mistake there, so I'll fix that up. How do I fix it? I can't rename it, so I have to just delete it, and I'll press that. I'll type developers. Look, it's still there. I've deleted it, but people are going to still keep using the wrong tag. Drives me crazy. Now, of course, I've told the product team about this, and they've said, yes, we know. And so it's interesting the way they develop now, because this is not how they did it. They work by the method of MVP, minimum viable product. So they're certainly minimal, all right? I can't report it, I can't merge tags. Now, this isn't how Microsoft used to work in their old boil the ocean approach, and have big delays in shipping. So they're doing that, and they're going to ship that in an update. And that's kind of how they're working. They get it done, they get it out, and then they keep adding and they keep shipping every 3 weeks. It's an interesting approach. Anyway, so now it's the time to prioritize and estimate. So as a product owner, how many people here, we have developers. Developers always estimate, right? We have to estimate because we're always, every time a product owner talks to us, then they ask us how long will that take? And they've given us like a 1-sentence overview of an ERP system sometimes. Just give me a ballpark, I won't hold you to, even though it's, a 12-month job. So what I like is this business value field. How many people have used the business value field with a product owner on a real project? Okay, one. Okay, happens to be our client. So the business value field is, it's as simple as this. If it's good enough for a developer to have to estimate, it's good enough for a product owner to tell us the business value. Okay, if we have to estimate effort, they can estimate business value. So the scale, the scale is whatever you decide as a team. In our company, I encourage the teams to use the same scale. I encourage them, if you're using Fibonacci, use Fibonacci, although I'm not a fan of Fibonacci any longer. So I like the doubling method, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. It's just easier for product owners to understand. As soon as you teach them Fibonacci, they think you're from another planet and some geek, and that you've lost traction with a product owner. So I will just tell you that they get a lot of benefit. The main thing isn't the number, in case you think I'm obsessed with the number. It's the conversation that happens, and it's quite cool. My prediction is, we got pretty much 0 here, that almost 50% of you guys will make it in the next 12 months. We'll see what happens. I released this video. You can watch it. It just essentially shows a brand new team estimating business value. You'll see there's a couple of points there where developers think they know exactly what's going on, and the product owners, by estimating business value on items which they thought were irrelevant to product owners, they've kind of said, yeah, we would use that for our SLA when we thought it was like an internal thing, a ZS Validate page, and they wanted to use that. So all of a sudden that had high business value. The conversation around it was interesting, okay? And that's all it is forced communication. All right, so that's all we want you to do, Keith. Talk to us. Yeah, it's not that hard. Okay. All right, so the team estimates effort, the PO estimates business value. All right, then you've got a backlog. So the PO says these are the most important things. They go into sprint 1, and we try to do a sprint. Okay, at that point in time, once we've dragged them into here, we've now got this board view. And the board view is what we use for our daily scrums. And we get this, and we break that down, and we put all the different things. And these are the things I'm going to show you tonight. So you add tasks, and now we've got all these things. So I've got my sprint 1, which is my agenda tonight, which is to show these different features, show the team rooms and things. All right, so it's sprint 1. So now it's just the developer. I've got this hat, which I'm not going to wear, but that's the propeller head. Okay, that's what other people think we are. All right. So, sprint 1, you've got to make a whole series of architectural decisions. How are you going to do things, and I'm not going to go through it all other than say make them. So you've got to choose what server-side technologies are you going to use. Are you going to use EDMX versus code first? In our company, we go database first. I'm not a massive fan of code first because of data, database synchronization and stuff. You've got to choose an IOC container. We choose structure map at our company, but there's plenty of other ones to choose. Just choose one. And there's lots of those decisions. You've got to choose if you're doing web, which almost everybody is now. You've got to choose what web client-side technologies are you going to use, JavaScript, TypeScript, CoffeeScript, what data grids are you going to use, what client-side bindings. How many people here are 100% on JavaScript and jQuery? That combination. Okay, Dave, what are you? The client side?
Yeah, client side,
Okay, so we've got one. What are you, sir? Client side. This client side. Oh, Knockout and Angular. Wow, you like mixing brands. All right, cool. Sorry? Signal R, yeah, okay. And the Jira guys? JavaScript and jQuery. Oh, you didn't answer me before. Okay, what about on your most common project, the Greenfield project you start tomorrow? How many people here are 100% jQuery and JavaScript? Okay, so 70% of you. Okay, I just have to ask the question twice each time. That's all. That's no problems. Now, I'm going to tell you that we were like that for a fair while. And I think if you keep going down that path of 100% jQuery, you're going to have problems because we're investing more and more in this client-side stuff, and it's more and more fragile, and there's more and more logic and stuff like that. So last year, I demoed at TechEd CoffeeScript because I was sure that CoffeeScript was going to be the bee's knees and that we would all switch to CoffeeScript now. It was nicely in Visual Studio, and I don't know, I thought it was going to be the best thing, and so I told everyone to get on it. So I'm kind of reviewing that decision. In fact, any of those people that took that, I apologise because it doesn't really pan out as well as I thought it would. In the last year, we have primarily been working with TypeScript, okay? And it's been a much better success. And I'll tell you why. Not that there's probably anything wrong with CoffeeScript, but it's so similar to JavaScript, it hasn't been a hurdle like I had before with CoffeeScript. I'm going to tell you that 100% of your reusable client-side libraries should be on TypeScript. I'm going to say don't use CoffeeScript. It's kind of a mistake. You can still use the odd bit of random JavaScript on page-specific scripts. Okay. Now, this is why I fell in love with it, because if you look at JavaScript on the right and CoffeeScript on the left, it just looked more readable. And I thought, why would anybody not want to use it? So you're all going to move to it, right? Wrong. I couldn't get the guys here to use it, and I don't know. Well, actually, I learned something. I have this awesome designer in Brazil. He does a lot of our client-side scripts overnight when we're running late on things. And he just had a conversation with me when I told him, now use CoffeeScript. And he told me, Adam, I don't want to tell you this really, but I know you think I write JavaScript. I really don't. I've never written JavaScript from scratch in my life. I just find bits and pieces and put it in and just make it work somehow. You know, I can't learn this. It's too hard for me. Where am I going to find CoffeeScript on the web? So that was the first time I was kind of enlightened because I was surprised because he does a lot of decent stuff. And then I spoke to the guys here who can easily pick it up. They know so many languages. Oh, don't give me that. I'm busy. I ignore you. You know, I don't want to learn another language. That's what it all came down to. So anyway, yeah, ALM. It's even better than CoffeeScript. Well, I'm not going to recommend that. Thanks. Right. So anyway, this is why it's so cool, because here is JavaScript and here is TypeScript. Look how similar it is. It's barely a difference. And I guess because it's, you've got strongly typed compiling, it's cool. In fact, the TFS team, TFS.Visual Studio, is 100% TypeScript. That's a huge application. And they had, I asked Brian Harry back and forth for pain and stuff, and it wasn't a painful conversion. All right, so in summary, there's JavaScript, and that's what, once you've got jQuery, it's much rounder, nicer, feels more solid. That's a CoffeeScript user, and that is a TypeScript user. Nicely presented with a suit, and anything to do with Anders Holzberg is cool anyway. I should have picked up on that instantly. All right. So then you choose your own data grids. You can roll your own or choose one of the leading ones. They're all pretty cool. We use Kendo UI most of the time. You just make that decision. Then you've got to choose your client-side data binding and templating. We've just heard that a couple of guys over there are using AngularJS or Knockout. You can just keep using jQuery if you want, and you're going to have a lot of on-click, on-change, if statements, this and that. At our company, we use Knockout for pretty much all our MVC projects these days. And I'll just tell you very quickly why, because here you can see you got some tickets, and it's bound up to this combo. And there's some logic here, whether you enable buttons and stuff like that. You can see there's different bits of logic going on here. But there's not an if statement inside. There's not an if statement. It actually is almost like the old Windows Forms binding. And that's why it's kind of cool. It's just very simple for what it is. All that conditional stuff is, hidden away. So anyway, that's that stuff. And now we can move those items over here. In fact, what I'll do, all right. Anyway, so what we do now is we do the daily scrum. We'd move these items here, and I'll just switch over and I'll start doing that. So this item, actually, I would normally have 8 hours worth of tasks here in progress for the day. So let me just talk to you quickly about ASP.NET 1. This basically has combined a whole series of templates into one. So in the old days, we had all these. Now we have just one, and that's pretty nice. Now, when you do that, you've got a whole series of warnings. So if you choose web forms, it has these warnings that come up that tell you, don't choose this, okay? Now, in addition, they've made Silverlight the default. Okay, you can see Silverlight is now the default. Just screwing with you all, just checking if you're awake. All right, now there's no warnings, there's no Silverlight, don't worry. All right. So you come through, you choose a template, you choose Web API if you want, choose authentication, TFS responsive. Now I need to make an announcement to you. In Visual Studio 2013, we now have 64-bit edit and continue. Are you all asleep or you don't care? Who's happy with that news? Okay, so 70% of you are happy about that. Who couldn't care less about that feature? You'll never use it? Rarely. Does that mean you don't want it? Because you only ever use it when you're completely stuck, right? Yeah. So, anyway, it at one point was the #1 feature that everybody wanted. That was before the colours got wrong, All right, so let's switch over to here. I'll just need to get to my Visual Studio. Where is he? Okay, so you come in here, you'll go New, Project. You would choose, Visual Basic, what the hell's going on there? So that's very scary. So you go into the web now, and here we've only got one choice, okay? And I'll just go Sydney.NET user group, okay? And I'll add to source control, we'll go OK, and then I choose MVC, okay? Then you can say, look, do you want web forms? Whoa, no thanks. Web API, I'll add unit tests, what authentication, individual user accounts, and we'll go off and create that. Now I should mention, if you are using web forms, you do get most of the benefits that have been thrown into MVC start flowing into the web forms. Okay, so lots of all the friendly URLs and heaps of this cool stuff that's been added into MVC 5 now. So up until I installed this yesterday, you were stuck on MVC 4, so it's now MVC 5. we'll come through. We get another chance. I don't know why Git hasn't got its red color here again. We come through. We choose that. Oh, now this is cool. I am just going to, let me just close down 1 sec. I just want to show you something. I'm going to close that down, and I'm going to open up Visual Studio. This is the RC. I'm going to open up that last project that I had. Oh, where is it? I am going to select a team project, and oh, that's not great. I'm logged in as Adam Cogan. Oh, I'm trying to think of why. I've just logged in. I open up Visual Studio on this fresh machine. It's offline. It's offline. Where? Oh yeah. So connect to team projects. I know I'm on a fresh machine. I'm not expecting anything, but I have logged in. This is one of the cool new features, and I'm a little bit confused. Oh, it's timing. Okay. So this was one of the cool things I actually want to show you, which I can show you now. This is a brand new built machine. It's barely 2 hours old, and I had not opened it until you guys came in, and just all I did was log in. Now, one of the nice things is I have all this stuff already done for me. So it knows all what I've been working on other machines. Is that nice? Not only that, it's got all my tools, options, settings, and things like that. So I can come in here and select the project that I just created, or I'll actually select the New Zealand one that I just did on Friday. So, and I've gone ahead and added a whole lot of work items to that one, so I'm just going to use that. So I can, well, configure my workspaces, map and get, you know. And it's pretty cool how all those settings are now saved, you know. I wish I could show you where they saved, but there's just saved somewhere up in the cloud, you know, that type of thing. So I'll just grab this. Any questions so far? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I've created a brand new MVC project. I'm just going to fire it up, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. It has a whole lot of built-in authentication, so I can add, like I'm going to have on my login screen, maybe forms authentication, allow them to log in with their Google or their Facebook or their Twitter or whatever. And then I might give you a little baby demo on the edit and continue, see if you like it. All right, so I've got all that. And I'll just go Source Control Explorer. All looks pretty good. And I'll just go back to my Team Explorer. I probably should click on my task board and check what I'm working on, because you would normally do that before you start working. Okay, and all these things done. Oh, I haven't done anything actually, so they're all wrong. So what I'm going to work on today is my 64-bit edit and continue my 1ASP.NET. Okay, so then when I come here to my work, I actually could do that another way. Let me just do that another way. I won't put 64-bit edit and continue in. Okay, I'll just put 1. So that 1ASP.NET, wherever it is, I have to move that into in progress. All right. Even though it was in progress, because that wasn't in progress work. It was in progress. A bit confusing, eh? Sorry. But what if, so let me just come back here and I'll just refresh this. You know there's only one thing in there. Nothing changed. So this 64-bit edit and continue, I could do it here, or I could do it here. Where is it? There. I do it there. I've moved it in there. I come back here, refresh. Will it have moved? I hope so. And that was great. See, you can see how it moved across. You stupid looking thing. If I keep clicking refresh, it won't do anything. Let me think about that. If I've moved it into there, that is very confusing. Is that TechEd New Zealand? Yes. I'm just going to do that once more. No. I'm trying to think. Just because I've started working on it, shouldn't it be in progress? I'm just trying to think. I'll move them out. So I'm now not working on them. Would that move them out? Because here's the difficulty that the TFS team have. Just because you move them into progress doesn't mean they're in your current change set, does it? You understand? Like just because I move this in there doesn't mean it's in my current change set. So I'm just going to move, I'm just going to do that once more because I'm just trying to remember how that should work. So I've moved it into there. I would expect that that would move that over there to in progress. Oh, well, move one. That is really, no, I can't. I can do lots of things. I'm a man. I'm quite good at doing multiple things at once. No, that is definitely not true. And I'm so I'm just going to switch that back. I'm going to move 1ASP.NET back. I'm just going to see if that has fixed it. Ah, look, see, it's all fixed. And I have no idea what the hell I did, but never mind. It's all good. We don't care. We moved on. Yeah, no, it wasn't syncing in the cloud. There was some other syncing issue going on because we were syncing fine into the cloud. It's just, look, when you move it to here, generally it goes to in progress. What the behavior I just saw then confused me and I haven't seen it before. But if I move it out of here and back to available, it moves it out of in progress. Okay? So generally there's, oh well, you saw how it works. Great. So let's go back to home and let's go to, well, I'm now working and I need to F5 this. Have I got any source? Have I opened anything? What's in my Solution Explorer? Yeah, I've got this, so I should be able to run this baby. So I'll F5 that. I've done nothing on this machine. And there is one thing I'm going to tell you. The very first time, the dead set start is slow. And I'll tell you why that's kind of slow, is because IntelliTrace is turned on. So I generally turn IntelliTrace off. Okay, so I don't have that performance impact. But here I am, and one of the first things you'll notice is it looks decent. It's Twitter Bootstrap. Twitter Bootstrap 3. If I see how I'm resized that, it's responsive UI out of the box. Okay, so that's done. In fact, one of our guys here, Mark Liu, he won't let anybody on his team, if they don't, like any juniors, unless they already know Twitter Bootstrap, because he doesn't like dealing with UI issues much, although he has to. And he thinks, look, if a junior knows Twitter Bootstrap, at least he's going to give you a UI that the client probably won't complain about too much, and you can keep focused on the business logic. Anyway, here we have this. You can see it's responsive. I'm just going to have a look. I'm going to log in. Let's have a look at the login. And I've got this login. Oh, you know what I'd love? I'd love a Google button somewhere here that allows them to choose this or Google. So let's come back here. And it's still running, remember? I'm just going to, instead of Control F or search through the solution, because normally you will have this guy open, looking at the work items that we're working on. I've forgotten what I'm meant to be working on. Oh, that's right, 64-bit edit and continue. So you've got this new thing, Control, comma, and I've got this. And now I can type auth. Do you like that? Is that nice? No? Not nice? I'm just going to reset this thing. Let me just reset this so that you've got a complete vanilla system, because this has brought through all my changes that I've done to all my customizations. I just want you to see it out of the box rather than all my changes. So I'm just resetting the environment so it's back to vanilla and there's nothing different. Now, even this is a fresh machine, I noticed it wasn't vanilla because it's pulling through my tools options from another machine, which is kind of funny. All right. Now, what am I going to do now? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that piece of code, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to enable Google support without stopping. So I'll just find that line of code. Oh, this is taking a bit of time. All right, when this is done, I'm going to find the breakpoint, and then I'm going to reset the debugging experience, and then it should already be enabled. One of the things I'm going to tell you about this, oh, here we go, cool. Okay, so I'm still debugging at the moment, and I won't break it. I'll just find where this, this guy. Here we go. I found it. I'll just hide those guys. See all this authentication stuff? So I can get Facebook authentication. I want this Google one. If I try to rem that out, it's going to say, look, you're editing. You can't do that. So, okay, what I can do is I can put a breakpoint on here, and I could go debug and restart. I'll just restart the debugging experience, and hopefully it'll just drop onto that line. There we go, drops on here. Now I'm debugging, I can go, oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to rem that out. And then I just press continue, and there we go. Bob's your uncle. You click on here, you click on login, and voila, it's there. All right, okay. All right, you guys weren't so impressed. I thought you'd love that feature. But had I showed that to you 5 years ago when you were all wanting it, you'd be excited. Now, I'm going to tell you something about that feature. Maybe one of the reasons you're not so excited is because you don't work in this manner. One of the goals that I try to have the guys work on at SSW is red, green, refactor. So before you change code, you see red. You see, the unit test broken. So generally, when you're hitting a bug like this, in real life, should you be changing code on the fly while you're in a debugging experience? Probably not, okay? In fact, my suggestion to you is that you go in here, properties, we'll go into web, wherever it is, scroll down here. I'm still debugging. Let me just kill the whole thing. Okay, so my suggestion is, see this setting here, enable, edit, and continue, that you turn that off. I know it's on by default, but turn it off. Because you shouldn't be working this way. You generally should be having a unit test showing you the problem. Like, when you see a bug like that, go Y, add a unit test, see red, fix the code, work that way. So, in fact, what they should do is have an override button here that says, I am a responsible developer, and now I get to use the feature. Because there are times where you would want to use this. If you've written a unit test and you can't work out what's wrong with the code, and you can't fix the code to make the unit test go green, there's a good scenario, isn't it? So, but that's not a responsible developer. That's not the majority of responsible developers, okay? But that, anyway, just use it with caution. All right, so enough of that. So, we saw that. We saw that we've got all this cool stuff in 1ASP.NET. One thing missing, one checkbox missing. The reporting. Where is the checkbox that says reporting? This is what I want Microsoft to do. I want them to give us a reporting solution that works with MVC, a new checkbox. Today we've kind of already solved it, but I'd like it solved out of the box. You can iframe it, you can render it directly to PDF, because every client wants to print something from their system in PDFs. And so you've got to find some stupid hack to find it on every solution. It's driving me crazy. This is the way we usually do it. We host web forms and use the old report viewer control. And that way we get the parameters at the top in MVC with complete control rather than the reporting services parameters. Or you can use another way and call reporting services web services. Okay. All I'll say is that web API checkbox, check it on, use it. It should replace WCF in most of your projects. There's not many cases where you still need WCF. It's much better. What about what? RIA services? RIA services. Are you doing Silverlight, sir?
It's still a really good tool. You have to use it.
RIA services has been open sourced, I think, just recently. So you can choose to go down that route, but I don't think it's going to be mainstream. Yeah. Okay, so it's just this using the web API is so lightweight and so simple. That's it. That's it. The authentication. Well, you saw me fix the authentication. The authentication, all I had to do was ram out a line of code. Okay, so once you ram out that line of code, we did all this. It's pretty cool, and so it's all pretty great. There's lots of these OAuth providers, Twitter, Bootstrap, and all you have to do is use this, ramming out this code like I just said, okay? So once you do that, you're a security expert, okay? Fantastic. All right, and you can put down my name as your referee, okay? Because nobody ever checks them anyway. All right. So 64-bit edit and continue, there we've got it. Enable it via project properties. We won't see that dialog box ever again, thank God. And I've already just told you about all these warnings that have it off. Hey, on existing projects that you upgrade, do you expect when you upgrade them into 2013, do you expect that feature to be on or off? Who says that they expect to have that checkbox on? Okay, all right, maybe a third of you. Who expects that checkbox to be off? Less than a third. And most of you, what do you guys think? Do you expect edit continue to be on by default? You want it to be off by default? Yeah, okay. So I think that would make probably a third of a third. I thought it would be on by default because new projects were on. But you're right, it's off by default. And in fact, when I brought it up on one of the internal insiders list, most developers were horrified that I thought it should be on by default. I don't know, it's there. Anyway, so if they don't want it on by default, shouldn't you not want new projects to be on? Who knows? Anyway, go in here and I'm going to generally tell you, unless you're working with advanced developers, turn the thing off. And I have a rule there about turning it off, unless you're responsible. All right. Now, if we think back as the biggest feature that people wanted, the colors. You know, we only get 10 votes on user voice to tell Microsoft what we want. I feel I'm entitled to a lot more than 10 votes because I've got so many complaints, but we only have 10. And I look at this and I see 1,700 votes. I'm horrified people would waste so many votes on that. Now, I know it was a painful issue. But gee, that's a big, not only have you got that, you've got another one there, which has got 2,000 votes. It's a lot of votes wasted on colours. Anyway, in the beta, you will see that that's what we had. But and so I thought, oh, thank God, nobody will complain, colours everywhere, fantastic. But in the RC, oh, they've taken away our colours. So we've still got a little strip. And I think in the RTM version, that little strip will have disappeared as well and be completely black and white. All right. So, I don't know. Eric said that's cool if I put that in. I don't really understand it. Okay. It's something about a cat. All right. So, time to check in. Red-green refactor, check your unit test, put lots of gates on, associate your work item and check in. So, let's go ahead and do that. I've just been doing my work. here's my work. I come in here, I request a review if I need to, or I just finish. Now, have I done any changes? I guess I haven't. Well, I have. I'll put some comments. This has been authorised by Bill Gates. Okay, so we'll close that, make that change, come in here, those changes, and I check that in. Okay, finish this work without checking any changes, and if possible, what the hell? Where's my... Oh, this thing isn't under source control. All right, sorry. So let me just put that, add to source control, put that in there. I haven't put it under source control. That would have been handy. I will just make a folder, trunk 3, and that will throw all that into my project. Okay, and then when I do that, I can come in here and I can request a review or check in. I check in, I put a comment. Do you guys actually care what comments you put? You care. How often do you go back and look at it? Not very often, really. Who has read their comments in the last week of prior check-ins? A couple. Not very, but you don't worry about someone else checking your stuff. It's what you worry about yourself, don't you? Okay. Well, a couple of guys. Most of you don't care. In our company, the check-ins matter because the check-ins go through to your timesheets. And then the timesheets go onto the invoices. So if you take anything stupid in here, it ends up on an invoice and a client gets upset. Okay. Don't write the word, this is a stupid bug too many times. Okay. So anyway, we got that in and we got a change set. All right. So that's done and we've done that. All right. So one small tip for you, TDD. You know TDD, you've got to be doing task-driven development, right? Okay. That old test-driven development, that's passe, all right? I've just invented a new acronym. Okay, I've overloaded it. So all I'm saying is, and I've showed you this, that before starting work, put what you're working on in here, and then when you check in, it'll already associate it. You won't have all those warnings. Now, I asked Microsoft to put, you know when you're coding away and you haven't put it in there, I wanted to put a little note that said, you've forgotten, please put something into my work so I know what you're working on. Yeah, tooltip or something. Well, I asked for a little thing, and I was accused of asking for Clippy to be put back. So, I don't know. I still think it would be useful. Anyway. So, the other thing is, you know all that confusion that I showed you before? I hate that. Because I do understand why. I just don't like them using the word in progress again. See, they call that in progress where on the board it's in progress. And it's not always in progress, is it? As you saw. So I think it should just say current change set stuff. Anyway, we'll see. If you agree with me, let me know, because I've tried to talk the team into it. Okay, so then you go through and we check in, we put a good comment, and we're good to go. Now, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on setting up all the builds. I just want to, because I'm trying to do the entire life cycle here, I want to just tell you. So you set up continuous deployments. It's just a checkbox and you've got continuous deployments happening. Who here has continuous deploying to staging? Gosh, only a small percentage. What about the Jira boys? Sometimes continuous deployment to production. Wow. What's your name? What? Bitu. Ditu. Okay. So I'm with you. That's pretty cool. So definitely you should have it to staging, but real men have it to production. All right? All right. That's pretty cool. On our public website, we've got it to production. You hit some issues every now and then. It's a good learning experience. Put some hair on your chest, but we do it. If you're using Azure, every check and auto deploys. It's about 10 seconds, up to maximum of 30 seconds for an Azure website. This is what you'll see inside Visual Studio. and you'll see this CD stands for continuous deployment here, but this is what it looks like in Azure. And then you double click on one of those, and then you go through to here, and you'll see how long it took. Now, if you look at that time there, you'll see that's 5 minutes in that case, and that's 3 Azure Cloud Services, and that's each deployment. So that gives you an idea how long it will take. All right. Also, you get the benefits of every check-in. You see the associated change sets and the work items, so that's pretty cool. Then we come through here, and I don't think many of you would have noticed this, but when you've done that, you will see this integrated and build. So on every single task, a tester can see which build that was fixed in, which is quite nice. All right. So then you install this little thing on your machine, and you get all these notifications. Some guys have it, some guys don't. My recommendation to you is just to turn these things off to have less noise, so it's not popping up all the time. All right. The other thing is you want to punish the guys that break the builds in different ways. Most devs respond to humiliation. There are certain guys, I've got a few of them, they don't respond to this. The only other thing you can do for those ones is punish them financially, make them buy coffees or donuts or something. But if you're trying to get to the panacea of continuous deployment, you've got to have something where you instill in these rogue developers that, the extra checks and balances. So, recap of that, automate deployment. You're crazy if you don't. Integrate with work items, like I just said. Punish the idiots, and then set up some automated tests. And those automated tests are here. And then and I've got a whole session on testing, so I'm not going to talk about that. But then you got your daily stand-up. Now, the daily stand-up consists of 3 little questions, very easy. My only recommendation is that when you do this, you use this board, you switch it to your name, and then it will filter down to just yours. Most teams do a daily stand-up without this, and if you remember, you know how I just checked in before? I should go back and check it. Where was I? I was here, I put them in progress. Remember, I've checked in since. I'll press F5. And hopefully, those guys, in my next morning's daily stand-up, they're already moved across. Pretty sexy, hey? No? Not sexy? I think it's pretty sexy. Anyway. So you completed this. And so, if you forget midway through the daily scrum, you just move it across and it's done. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I checked in, and don't forget the default is, the question was, it shouldn't have transitioned across to done. It depends whether you are associating or resolving, and by default it resolves. You can change that default. But I'm just showing you the out-of-the-box experience. Yes, if you check in continually, you wouldn't want that, and I should have showed that. So anyway, we're doing that right now. I'll move that across. We're doing these in the next 8 hours, and these are the tasks that I'm doing today in my daily work, and that's my 8 hours of tasks. All right, and you can see that if you put that right, my main thing is this thing over here on the right. If you do that, then it auto-assigns everything to yourself. Okay, rather than, people keep on doing this manually, I don't know why. Now remember I said to do this, put that up there. If you're not convinced to use an electronic task board in your daily scrum, I encourage you to watch this video. It's a 10-minute video on watching Microsoft, a team at Microsoft, do their daily scrum with an electronic task board. And I think it's quite interesting how they go around in a circle. They take control of the PC. They have it up on a board, all the, when all the meetings are happening, so people randomly turn up to daily scrums. It's pretty cool. All right. I have one suggestion for the TFS team is I would like to see the state of these, personally, but lots of people don't think that's necessary. All right. So then my other suggestion is I'd like to see colours on here, but the chances of getting colours through. But I think it'll look nicer with all those different colours on. That's my mock-up. All right. So my last suggestion is I love reporting in TFS. I would love to be able to, instead of just get a query and get a set of numbers, like a grid of data, I want to get it like this. I can do this today in CRM. Why can't I do it in TFS? Hold on. I can do it in TFS, but only since the RC came out. So here, this is how they've delivered this right now. Queries, charts, new chart. You do that, and you will have this query. It's amazing. It's awesome. So you can actually go ahead and start doing lots of these charts. I don't know why you'd want so many different variations of dumb charts. Who would want a donut? Only Americans. They were obsessed by donuts. And they're not very useful. I'd be happy with just that. But anyway, you've got that. So, hold on. Raj, you had a question? No. Somebody else had a question? No? Just take the mic if you need it. All right. So, let's talk about 7 IDE improvements. And I had a number of discussions with different guys in the office, and people have different opinions on what the cool things are. And I'm sure with the RC out now, other opinions will change. But I'm going to take you through what myself and Eric and Damien thought were the best 7 improvements. Syncing ID, navigate to, peak, move up and down, code lens, enhanced scroll bar, and rock and roll. So let's go and have a quick look at that. I already showed you that that this thing in the cloud, I can't really show it to you other than what I've done. It's up there somewhere in the cloud. But it's pretty cool. If I click on my Visual Studio profile, I will see all the team projects and all the ones I'm a member of. I think it's pretty cool. Finally, I can see which ones. If you've got a dodgy memory, that's pretty cool. All right, what else? So I showed you before that you've got control comma, and you can get in and see stuff. Let me just... I'll just show you a couple of things here. Oh, before I do this, before I start work, I'm meant to do something, aren't I? I'm meant to go back here to my work and then show what I'm working on. So what am I going to work on today? I'll work on the top 7 IDE improvements. Okay? And so if I was to come in here and do a search on login or something. I'll come into login. Let me just look down here and find something. But this, I think, is kind of cool. Let's just say I want to know more about redirect to local. What would I do? I press F12. And you know when you press F12? I'm sorry, that wasn't right. That was F11. Gee, I won't want to do that again. Okay. Okay, let me just do that again. So F12. And then I go down to here and I look in here. And how do I get back? Control minus, etc. And it's like you're going along on a freeway, out to the western suburbs, and you want to know where you are. How do you know where you are? Well, if there's no road signs, you would have to jump off and then find out where you are and jump back on the freeway. Okay, and what if you ended up in Mount Druitt or something? So you would, this way, I think is cool because you could go Alt F12. And look at that, it pops open. But I didn't move anywhere, I just stayed where I was. You guys like this? Yeah? It actually gets better. You can actually come in here and start typing. So I can start reformatting all this for some reason. Okay? That type of thing. So, and you can pin this thing. Not that I'd want to pin it in this case. I don't know why it shows that, because this is the same file, which is kind of weird, but you get the idea. All right. Great. So that is called peak, Alt F12. In fact, I don't think you need F12 anymore, because that's good enough. All right. Any questions on that?
You can also set the tracking in the Explorer.
You can also set tracking in Explorer.
Yeah, you can see where which.
There is a setting you can do where the code is coming in, which file it is belonging to. It will follow, it will navigate on the Explorer.
I don't know what you mean. Can you tell me? So where is the setting?
I have
in Solution Explorer so it always shows you your file.
Oh, right. Okay, so every time you're working, you can see which file. Yes, that's right. Yep, that's right. That's good. So let me just show you the second one, and I'll just try to find some file here. I will go bundle.config, where's that? So I'll go into bundle.config. Let's just say, for some reason, I want that one up. Now, if I want to move that up, I can just drag it up with my mouse. I can do a cut and paste. But now you've got this new Alt up. I'm just no mouse involved. Is that cool? Who thinks that's cool? Not so cool. Okay. Not so. Well, I thought it was kind of interesting because there's a lot more keyboard support rather than mouse support. And I have some NDA information for you. In Visual Studio 2014, it's going to be voice activated. So you just say, up, 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 and it all goes up. Okay? So, and in Visual Studio 2015, there'll be a lot of complaints about all developers screaming throughout the offices. And it'll be Connect supported. So you just go, and you'll get Fitbit points. It'll be great, you know. So, the other thing I really wanted to show you was this CodeLens stuff, and this is really awesome. CodeLens. Let me just try to find something half decent here. Now, there we go. There's one. So if you want to know this identity manager, where it is, what do? You right-click here and find all references. Is that right? And then you click on this, and now we're completely disorientated. Which one? Oh, not that one, not that one. You can see how it keeps opening and all that stuff. So you don't need to do that anymore. You can just click on here, and if you see that 18 there, you don't even have to know anything. You just click that, and now you can see it all. And if I hover over this, see how it goes down the right? And it shows me that. And I'm not moving away from where I am. I don't know. I think that is awesome. Yes. Oh, that one got a clap. One clap. All right. Well, if that's not good enough, you can actually show it on the code map. So let me just show you this. This really rocks. You can actually see where that's being used. So I don't know. I think that's pretty nice, you know. And you've got to, especially when you're exploring someone else's code. So there's that. Let me just show you one other thing if I can. I'll just run all my tests, and running my tests, you can see that pops open a bit faster now in the RC. Thank goodness. And that's there. So if I was to go to something, I need to, the about, let me just try to, where will I go? I'll just go to that account controller. Oh. I don't know where there's some tests. Let me just see if I've got some tests here. So I'll go to action result. Bugger. Let me just look in the controls. What have I got? Should be something down here with some tests. Where is it? Anyway, just trust me. If there were some tests here, which there are, anyway, there would be some around here, and you could then see the tests here. All right, and that would be kind of cool, especially if you're doing a code review. Or if you're a dev, you can just run the tests with just that method. So, I didn't show you the rest. Let me just show you a couple of others. The other ones are oh yes, let me just show you this guy. If I want to say, that's not a very good one, but this identity manager. If I go Control F, not only do I see all this color here, look over on the right, you can see all this. Isn't that cool? Microsoft did not get this idea from ReSharper. They thought it up themselves. In fact, it gets better. You can right click in here and go scroll bar options, change it from bar mode to map mode, change that to wide, and check that out. So when I go to Identity Manager and look at that, see I've got all the colors, plus I've got this, what's called map mode, or it used to be called rock scroll. But see that? You can, oh, look at that stuff in there, and then go down to there. And see? Isn't that cool? Is that cool? It's pretty nice. Yeah. All right. All right. So let me just go through those again. Who loves this? And I want you to say really loves rather than just put up your hand because it's okay. Who really loves this that you sign on and instead of seeing this, you see all this and you get all your tools options, you know. Who thinks that's awesome? Really awesome. Okay, so 60% of you. Cool. This, I have one suggestion from Microsoft. Please, this is good how you've given us this synchronized setting stuff, but give us one more. Support third parties. So all my extensions hook into here. That'd be nice. They should have done that. This navigate to. Who likes this control comma instead of over here? Control comma. Really loves it. Only. Whoa. Yeah, but it's in the box now. So yes, you had extensions from lots of things. You could buy ReSharper and fix some of these problems too. That one, no, that one was over. It was over here. I'm talking about this feature here, allowing you to keep my work open. Who thinks this is awesome? All right, so only 10% of the room, not very much. I need you to get that thing.
The only thing I really like about it started being a great tool, now it's just getting in the way. The only thing I like about it is showing the using statements you don't need. The rest
right,
is
that's the only thing you like. You don't like that
It's become way too getting much in the way. Just really.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, I think some people might even say that about some of these features because they're, although you can turn them off. So at ReSharper, you can turn off the things that are getting in the way too. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. All right. So this peek feature, where you click that and it will show you here. How many people really love that? Whoa, 100% of the room. Holy moly. That's great. Oh. All right, so you see that in line. How many people thought, Alt up, 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 up was awesome? One person.
Keys to change windows? Because I never drag the mouse across the different windows. So I see everyone does it. All the young guys, they all just use the mouse. But you should just be hotkeying between your windows, stacking.
Right.
And I just so fast.
Yeah. This one, where you, what was it? Oh, this code lens. So this code lens, where you click on 7 references and see this, not only do you have that, but when you click on the tests, see the test there? You get the tests. When you have TFS involved, see this? You see all the people. This is better than Blame. This is like Blame on steroids. So you can see everything. You can see who's been changing this method. This is awesome. Who thinks this feature is awesome? No, they didn't. They've never had anything like this. Not all this, like without going anywhere. Look, all this information has existed, but we never had it in this method. So I need...
We used that. We could see who changed what in files. It was on the left-hand side.
Oh, you're talking about annotate.
Yeah, annotate.
Yeah, but annotate, this is more than annotate. Oh, yeah, sure. Way more than annotate. Yeah, this is like, I don't know how to describe this. This knows everything about you. This is like my wife. Okay? Spying on you. So, yeah, that's great. So, there was only one person who didn't like it. You don't like it much. So. Okay. All right. Enhanced scroll bar. So you can see all that stuff on the right-hand side, the map mode. Who thought that was awesome? Hardly. Not so much, even because you got it in ReSharper already. Is that why? The color stuff. So only one person thought that was absolutely awesome. Can I get a show of hands for that last one? Yeah, not so many. All right, okay. All right, a few. So I've noticed with this guy that you've got lots of colors now. If you look over the place, you've got colors all over the joint now, so you should be happier. In fact, if you turned all your toolbars on, like I've just done here, and you've got all this, and things are really making you feel at home, like you feel like you're back in IE6, don't you? So if you don't like change, you can actually get your environment right back to where we used to be. Right, so there's nothing to complain about. All right, so what do we do now? We come back here. We'll get our Team Explorer, because we don't even need Solution Explorer. I will say, look, I'm happy with all that. I've done all my changes. I'll check it in. Sorry? What was that?
That window.
Small window. You need to pick that up.
That small window, it won't go?
The small window won't go.
In middle one.
You talking about that?
Yeah, that one.
What do you want?
Yeah, it won't go.
You don't want to go?
I want to hide it.
Oh, you want to hide it? Well, you just turn it off. I just turned it on. You can go back. Yes. Happy? He's happy now. All right. Okay, he doesn't like too much color. All right. So you can resolve this or associate, make your changes, refactored. Is that the normal comment if you don't know what you've done? And then you check in, and those changes have happened. So I'll come back to here. We do that. We check in. We now are in here. So I want to just show you something that I think is absolutely awesome. And this is the investments they've made in the portal. I'll be really interested to see if you think this is as cool as I do. But you've got this beautiful code browsing now. I have this vision, this promise that one day I can just sit on a beach with my iPad and just be checking what the guys are doing, you know, just doing code reviews and making some little complaints with my finger, click this, and I've got a pina colada right next to me. It's going to be fantastic. And I think this is like my first, the first step of that vision. So I want to show you this code browser, how you can put comments in, how you can see diffs, and you got a scroll bar in the browser and things like that. So let's just have a quick look at that. So you know I've just checked in here. Did I check in? Yeah. So where's my change sets? Let's go back. Oh, bugger. I want to see my, I want to go to that last change set. Well, there's a problem. How do I see my last change sets? So I can't see my last change sets from here, but what I can do is go to the web portal, which is a damn shame. If I hadn't have gone one extra step, I would have been able to see my last change set. But I can come in here and there's this second tab has changed from the word source to code. So I click on code, and I can click on change sets now. And I can see all my different change sets. So you can see the one that I just did, refactored. So this is like a little Twitter feed, so I can click on that and see what's been going on. Raj, you can give out those evals if you want, because we're pretty much near the end. So here is the last one. Remember, this is the one I changed where I moved it up. It thinks I deleted that and added that, but it doesn't matter. And if I'm sitting on the beach on my iPad, I can come in here and go, why did you move this up? Okay, fantastic. Done. There, I'm just commenting in the code all my little complaints. Fantastic. Why didn't you follow this naming convention? Why isn't this tested? You know, that type of stuff. Isn't that cool? In fact, in the RC, they've just added this. See when I hover over here, look at this. I can come in here, check this out. I can say, make that a, well, I call it a bug. No, I shouldn't do that. It's naughty. I'll call it a task. And why did you move this up? That's a bit passive-aggressive. That's very American-like. Please move, fix it. Please change it back. Okay? And I am just, the only thing I'd love them to do, I would love this task to be associated with the original, PBI. Like, you kind of can get to it via the links, but I'd like it to be under that. Anyway, we'll save that. And now I'm making comments and I'm adding tasks. Pretty nice. So here it is. If you want to look at this bundle config, you can look at it, the side-by-side view in the browser. Check this out. There it is. It's side-by-side in the browser, plus I've got my comments that I've put. Is that nice? If you, who was the guy that liked to annotate? One of those, yeah, loves to annotate. You can, how do we do that? We can see the contents, and you can click on annotate here. Look at the annotation. In the browser, I can see who's screwing up what, who's doing what. Isn't this good? Isn't this getting fantastic? You can, if you go back to the I'll get rid of that annotate. Go back to compare. If I'm going to look at, say, add, I can go Control F. Look at that. Control F, and this takes over my Control F, and it's doing this. And look, in my scroll bar has all the little colours in it too. They're doing a pretty good job, aren't they? I think that's pretty impressive. It's well, you can see where their big investments are going, all the way in the browser. So anyway, enough of that. I showed you, well, I didn't show you that, but I was going to show you how you can open it in the browser from Visual Studio. You can come here, see the actual task. You can then click on that change set and get to where I got to, but I got to it another way. You can see this, red and green, what's being changed. So the code changes are obvious. The associated tasks are obvious. The file, you see the files in the change set on the left. Then you can put comments there. You can add them to create a work item out of it. You can see the traditional diff view with comments. Enhanced scroll bar. It's awesome. It's so awesome. I had trouble finding complaints, but I had found some. Here are my complaints. Why don't you give us IntelliSense in the browser now? You've done it with Azure. Why don't we get it here? That'd be pretty cool. Because at least you could give better comments when you're complaining about code. Why don't you use this or that? Give us Code Lens in the browser so we can do a full-on code review. That'd be cool. That Code Lens feature. The enhanced scroll bars don't scroll on my iPad. So how am I going to get my vision if I can't scroll on the iPad? In the comments, I want to put @Bob, so the message goes straight to his inbox, like Team Rooms. And I want notifications at the top when someone adds a comment to the code. So I would love it if I had my comments at the top. That would be awesome if they did that. And if you could just make it the same color and look as Facebook, I'd even be happier. Okay. All right. So that was that. We moved that across. The last one is, actually I just got 3 quick ones. Show Team Rooms. I won't do a demo, I'll just tell you. But Team Rooms solves the problem where you're sending emails or having Skype chats. Some of the guys here even send Facebook messages to each other, and it's about the code, which is really stupid. So no more IMs. Put all the conversations about the code in the Team Room. They're all recorded. They have notifications. You can have lots of cool things. And in the morning when you come in and say, oh, sorry guys, I was away yesterday, but what did you guys get up to? Well, you don't need to do that. You can just read the Team Room to see what was going on yesterday. Oh, there's a couple of bill failures. Oh, glad I was away yesterday, that type of thing. So you get up to date. So it's just a Twitter feed for your project. So this is what it looks like. You click down here, and you see this. You can see the conversations, you can see @, you can see references to bugs. All that stuff is here. It gets better. You can see all events, who's checked things in, any builds that failed. And you can see, by the way you do that is you click over here, Manage Events, see there? You click that guy, up will come this, you go check, you click on Work Item, check, you click the next one, check, and you get flooded with everything that's going on in the project, if you want. Okay, so it's already great. Microsoft, please move on and build us a wiki. That's what I'd like. There's three little things I'd love. I'd love them to allow me to pin some messages. If I could pin a couple of messages to the top, then they kind of act as reminders, like favourites or something. Because sometimes you have a discussion and you go, guys, remember, we're not going to be doing this anymore. You know, when you're trying to improve your definition of done or whatever. I was going to give another example, but I have a product owner in the room, so I can't. Add tags like work items. Only show me rooms that I'm a member of. So currently you see them all. I click on one, and it says, sorry, you don't have permissions to that. So don't show it to me. That's what I think. But anyway. So I've showed team rooms. We're on to the next day now. And you can see that I'm just about finished my sprint, and the sprint is nearly done, and the burn down's looking perfect. You know, isn't this a fantastic project? So the last two things I just want to tell you is the browser link and the debugger features. I actually am thinking of doing an entire night on this because it's so cool. But basically they have this linked browsers and code map. So you know when you have your office set up like this with all the monitors? Well, now you can have a different, you know, IE, Firefox, Chrome on all the different monitors, or split in half or something. And just by pressing F5, I didn't show you this before, but if I've got them all installed, it picks it up that they're all installed and they're all running. So as soon as I make a CSS change and press save, all three browsers update. Like, it's really nice. It's probably, even if that was the only feature that Visual Studio 2013 had, I would tell you to install it for that, you know. And designers love it. It's just a lot quicker than F5ing all them, you know. Oh, it's crazy. Anyway, it's great. So the other thing I love, I wanted to show you this, but I think you guys would prefer to go to the pub, have some pizza. So you can step through code now, and if you've turned on this code map thing, you can see what it looks like as you're stepping through. Now, I'll be really interested to see if in 12 months we're using this. I don't think we'll use it on our own code because you kind of know where it all goes. But when you're looking at someone else's code and you're stepping through this shopping cart to see what's going on, it's kind of interesting. I thought it was interesting. It came out of the Microsoft research, and you can see where you are. You're about to call this. It's a nice visualization. You can put comments in there as well. You know, you can say the bug's in there or whatever.
It could be useful to give to your client as documentation. Sometimes enterprises require this kind of documentation.
Oh yeah, you could use the documentation, yes. Yeah, and it's nice if you want to maybe do a debrief of what went wrong. It's a nice way of stepping through, getting a picture, and explaining in the war room what went wrong and why did it go wrong, and we had that downtime, and it's a nice way to visualize. Anyway, the other thing I'll tell you, if you're a web developer, you should install Glimpse. Glimpse is awesome. Web or MVC, it's all been improved. As a minimum, even if nothing else, it shows you what's slow. But it's got a lot of functionality, especially MVC guys. You can see which controller, which action, which ID. It shows you what's going on underneath the covers onto the server side. So pretty cool. We move those two across, and we are done. So that is our sprint. That's what it looks like at the end of the sprint. Now we do a review. The Scrum Master comes back into the room to talk to the devs. The product owner's here. We go through. This usually is forgotten, but the product owner should check what his original sprint goal was. And then you go through and you do the demos of the PBIs to the level needed. Maybe you've been during the sprint getting a lot of them signed off, so we just recap that was done. He doesn't need to see that, etc. Check the acceptance criteria is met, mark them as done, get feedback, put that onto the backlog, then start your retrospective. What went well, what didn't go well, what do we need to do differently? Any of these things need to adjust our definition of ready or definition of done. If you want to know more, all I'm going to tell you is go to Brian Harry's blog. It is the best blog. He's the most transparent person around. He's got a pretty thick skin, can take a fair bit of criticism. He's very, it's great how he makes himself available like that. He's very similar to Scott Guthrie in terms of their email communication. It's quite good. Read the Scrum Guide 2013. I think it's pretty important. We've got a whole lot of rules that are specific to Scrum and TFS only. So you can read those. We are running a Scrum PSD, 3-day PSD course, which is a professional Scrum developer course. If you're interested in that, check that out. If you want to know more about what I've done tonight, I'm doing an entire day session going deeper into this stuff. It's called the Brain Quest course, and it's a one-day course we're doing around the country. So we've done all that. The last thing to do is testing, and that will be another sprint, another time. So thank you guys. Did you get all that? We'll take the SSW TV quiz and test your knowledge now.